I've spent the last few years trying to figure out what this mystery chronic illness that I have been living with is. I've gone through lots of testing and ultrasounds and EKGs and doctors. Everything just always came back normal, which was really frustrating. I devoted myself the last couple weeks to going to doctors, asking for every possible test, just trying to finally figure out what it is, because I have been getting sicker and sicker and it's taking over my life and I just couldn't live like that anymore. This has been one of the most stressful couple weeks that I have ever had, just constantly on the phone talking to doctors and hospitals, fighting to get test results, MRIs, insurance issues. I'm having to find out if I need a procedure. My medical journey this month has been a nightmare experience. But I finally did get some results back on some testing and it's a little complicated. And I found out about the extent of damage that it has done to my body. So this is how my last couple of weeks went. I've got some doctor visits coming up. I came to the conclusion last year that I am probably suffering with endometriosis. If you don't know what that is, it's a disease where tissue similar to the uterine wall grows outside of the uterus, so it just causes a lot of pain and complications. So for a while, I definitely thought that was probably what was causing all of my issues, but over the past year, my issues have ramped up significantly. I went from having very specific pain in just one area of my body to kind of just overall systemic pain and issues and weakness. I literally cannot go on like that, especially at the rate that it's going, because it's getting progressively worse and that kind of worries me. So I decided your chronically ill girly here is going to finally figure out why she is chronically ill. I recently made a video where I was trying to get AI to diagnose me. I can ask ChatGPT what tests I should ask the doctor for. Don't come at me for this. It is a good tool. So it's suggesting I go to the doctor and ask for an autoimmune panel. ChatGPT made me a roleplay doctor script to help me prepare to advocate for myself medically. I am worried an autoimmune condition could be involved. Could we run an autoimmune panel to rule things out? Doctor, you're overreacting. You are young and healthy looking. Everyone has aches and pains. It doesn't mean you have some rare autoimmune disease. I hear you. I know a lot of people have vague symptoms, but these are affecting my daily life. I just don't want to ignore something that could get worse if it's not caught early. I don't want to waste time and resources chasing phantom diseases. You don't have lupus or MS or anything exotic. Maybe you should stop Googling and start accepting that some people just feel lousy. You need a therapist, not a blood test. Leave it up to ChatGPT to really prepare you for worst case scenario. And then I tried to put what has been bugging me the most, which oddly has been bone pain. It kind of feels like growing pains. I feel like that would be the best way to describe it. It's like a really dull, deep aching. So now 24/7, zero break, any given time, day or night, there is severe bone pain in my arms and in my legs. I don't know what to do about it. Nothing relieves it. Definitely ready to go to the doctor. Later that week, I was on my way to the doctor to see about having some testing done. This was a brand new doctor, so it took quite a lot of convincing from me before she decided to hear me out a little bit, order some panels, and an MRI. So after talking to the doctor, I think we're gonna figure out what MRI to order, and then I'm gonna do an autoimmune panel. I've only ever had blood drawn one time before. The last time I went to the doctor, actually. I have to do it again now, so I can't wait. Well, I've officially got holes in both my arms. They poked me twice on this arm. They were not able to find a vein, and so they sent me to the hospital, and then they were able to tap one. So we ended up doing a full autoimmune panel and a celiac panel, because being gluten-free, a lot of people have asked me if I've actually tested for celiac, because that could be causing a lot of issues. That's nothing I would even think of, so I decided to throw that in there. They had to take a significant amount of blood out of my arm. I got a little dizzy, a little queasy, but I think I'm doing okay. First thing in the morning, I just got a call from the hospital. Mostly everything looked within range. It's showing, she's like, a little bit, but we recommend you definitely act on it. It's showing that I'm celiac. No! All morning, all I've been doing is trying to figure out how likely it is to have a false positive on this test. All I found out is that it's 96% accurate and a false negative is actually way more likely. So. Oh. I can't believe something actually came back on the test. Let's just talk about that first. I'm so caught off guard. So apparently before you do the celiac test, you're supposed to do a gluten challenge, which means you eat a bunch of gluten beforehand, just so that if you have celiac, it triggers a whole immune response and the antibodies show up on the test. Well, I've been gluten-free for 4 years and antibodies still showed up on my test. So every time I talked about being allergic to gluten, I would always be like, at least I'm not celiac. That would suck. I said that a lot. Celiac disease is a hereditary autoimmune disorder where eating gluten, a protein in wheat, barley, and rye, triggers an immune response that damages the small intestine. Diagnosis involves blood tests for antibodies and a small intestine biopsy. The only treatment is a lifelong strict celiac-safe lifestyle, which allows the intestine to heal and prevents complications like malnutrition, infertility, bone loss, and organ damage. It says condition often runs in families and is associated with specific genetic markers. Okay, so you were born predisposed to developing celiac. So they're testing me for the genes. It's just the only thing on the test that's still pending. Once I get that test back, if I have the gene on top of the antibodies, that looks like a pretty solid case for celiac. So what I have gathered this morning is that celiac, it is not an allergy to gluten because a lot of people think that like gluten allergies are kind of in people's heads. This is not an allergy. It's an actual autoimmune disorder where the immune system attacks the gluten protein in your small intestine. Why it is so different from an allergy and why it's actually dangerous if untreated is it damages your small intestines to such an extent that you can no longer absorb nutrients. So you'll become malnourished, you'll have deficiencies, and those affect your bone health. It is very, very common to develop osteoporosis with celiac. It causes neurological issues. It can even cause seizures if your deficiencies are that bad. It also affects things like your pancreas. You're at a higher risk of developing pancreatic diseases, and it can affect other organs like your liver. If you have celiac and you're just living with it and you don't know, that can cause really major liver damage. There's even people that have gone into total liver failure. They've had to have transplants because of celiac, and it can be trace amounts of gluten. That's why it's so much more difficult than if you were just gluten-free. If I'm at a restaurant and they accidentally put croutons in the salad, I'll usually just pick the croutons out. If you have celiac, that whole salad is now tainted. When you go to restaurants, you have to ask the servers to use separate utensils, change their gloves. There can be zero cross-contamination. Things like corn, which you can eat. If the corn is processed in a facility that also processes wheat, there might be some cross-contamination. So even though the food is gluten-free, there could be cross-contamination. You pretty much have to be as careful as if someone had like a deathly peanut allergy or something like that. There can be no contamination. So if I do have celiac, that's a lifelong thing. I will have to take it very seriously. My whole family will probably have to be gluten-free when I'm married with kids. Like I can't be preparing food with gluten in it. So there's a couple things there that raise red flags for me. The bone health stuff is kind of interesting because I'm having the overall bone pain that's been a really bad symptom for me. I have the neurological issues. I have a lot of that stuff that it lists as symptoms. What's really weird is it says that there's a strong tie between type 1 diabetes and celiac. I never had anything diagnosed with it, but I was wearing a Dexcom for a while. Multiple times a day, my blood sugar would drop incredibly low. The phone would go off and start sending me an emergency alarm. And then after I ate, especially anything with carbs, it would spike really, really high to where, again, it would send me alarms and say it was like diabetic level. It makes me a little nervous. The obvious next step is to test for deficiencies. If I have all of these different deficiencies that line up perfectly with celiac, that could explain why I feel the way I do. It could tell me if there's further damage to my body, and it could help validate whether or not I have celiac. I think I'm gonna try to get a hold of the doctor and see if she can order some blood work for me so that when I go have my MRI done, I can just do my labs right there. But, yeah. Celiac disease. What? So I'm getting ready for the day. Should be exciting. I already know I'm gonna have a bunch of people in the comment section asking about this robe. It is very much giving luxury spa. I've never had a waffled robe before. I've only ever had those super scratchy sandpaper-like hotel robes. But this is 100% organic Turkish cotton. Now, a spa quality bathrobe is not usually something I would buy because unfortunately when you're shopping online, quality is considered a luxury. Whether it's apparel, home goods, or even everyday essentials, quality is hard to find, so I started shopping at Quince. Quince takes all the work out of having to scour the internet trying to find high quality, well-made, and ethically manufactured premium products that won't break the bank. You should not have to choose to sacrifice quality to avoid being overcharged. So Quince brings you high quality products 50% less than other similar sites would. The way they do that is working directly with their manufacturers to cut out the middlemen and cut out those markups. Another one of my favorite things about Quince is that they are a one-stop shop. They have everything from 14 karat gold jewelry to buttery soft bamboo bedding. Quince bamboo sheets is what my parents have on their bed. They love it. Cast iron Dutch ovens and European linen apparel. So I live in North Idaho. Gets very cold here. Makes it really hard to look cute in the wintertime because you have to wear like 3 jackets and you look like that kid from the Christmas story. You can't put his arms down. But there was this coat I had my eyes on. I saw these fashion girls on Instagram wearing it and they looked so cute and I just wanted it so badly, but it was very expensive and, you know, way out of my price range. So you can imagine how excited I was when I saw that Quince was selling it without the markup. It is so cute. Same quality, same premium materials. It's got this built-in scarf. You kind of flop it over the shoulder. Just look at this woven trim. It is adorable. It is a wool blend felt, so it is supposed to keep you extremely warm. And I can tell it is going to because it is so well made. It is so thick and comfortable. Finally have something cute I can rock all winter. So upgrade your wardrobe, your home, and more with high-end essentials from Quince. Go to the link in my description below to get free shipping and 365-day returns. We are getting ready to go over to the hospital in town and do my MRI. I'm a little bit nervous because I'm a very claustrophobic person, extremely, and I have to drive myself, so the sedation is not an option. I'm just gonna have to man up. They are doing a brain MRI to check for abnormalities that might make it look like some of my symptoms are neurological, and just markers for other autoimmune diseases. They were going to look for MS just because I've been having a lot of overall pain in my body and some muscle weakness. Hopefully everything will look good. I'm not expecting anything to come up that's unusual, but just to be safe. I'm actually very frustrated today. I have called the clinic that I went to. So once I got my results back, they were like, yeah, so you're showing positive for celiac disease. We suggest you just don't try to avoid gluten, don't eat bread and stuff like that. I discovered that 70% of people with celiac disease have low bone density. It's like up to 30% can develop osteoporosis. The main symptom that I went into the clinic for was my bones hurt. So I called them, hey, I'm going to the hospital today for my MRI. I would like to check for deficiencies. It seems like the best next step, especially with all of my bone pain. They said they'd call me back. Never called me back. I waited a day, called them again, put me on hold, then they hung up on me. So fast forward, we are now at the end of the week. I called them and I was like, hey, I'm going in for my MRI today. The lab is right there. Can the doctor please just real quick order me to do a nutrient deficiency test? The nurse is like, we just recommend you go gluten-free. I don't think you need a deficiency test. I told you guys, I've been gluten-free for years. I think I really do need a deficiency test. She was like, okay, let me talk to the doctor. Give me 1 sec. She's like, the doctor said she won't do it unless you come in. But I called another clinic and I'm gonna pay $150 or cash only clinic just to have a phone call with a doctor who will hopefully write the order for the blood work. So that's what we're doing now. Okay, I just got off that call. He ordered the test. So very happy about that, very relieved. He was a lot more helpful. All right, just arrived at the little hospital. There's Nevaeh. I have an MRI today. Oh, come on in. Once I got to the hospital, I had my blood drawn for my test. And then I headed straight to the MRI, and of course I couldn't film in there, but it went okay. All right. That was not at all as bad as I thought it was gonna be.
and it was pretty quick. It was like 25 minutes, not a full hour, so yeah, that was not that bad. And obviously I couldn't film in there, so I've decided I will do a little reenactment of how my MRI went.
Okay. Would you like a blanket?
Sure.
How you doing, hon?
I'm okay.
You sure?
I'm just a little claustrophobic.
Stay very still.
Okay.
While someone uses a jackhammer right next to your ears.
Huh?
I'm just kidding.
I should have got the sedation. Kind of sounds like a rave in here.
Hun? Yeah, stay still. Still.
Sorry.
Do not move.
Sorry. It just kind of sounds like a rave in here.
There is something wrong with her brain. No wonder she's here.
You guys do that on purpose?
Stop moving. So yesterday, I had my blood work done. And we did the MRI, which was an interesting experience. I have a missed call from the doctor. It's kind of strange because I just did my testing yesterday. Hi, I'm just calling back. I missed a call about an hour ago. Okay. What does that mean? What do I do about that? Yeah, I can come in. Real quick, could I get an emailed copy of the test results, please? So that was the nurse. She said that my results came back with me being extremely vitamin D deficient, probably is contributing to my bone pain. But the thing that was really odd was she said that I had high bilirubin. Like a baby. It's kind of threw me for a loop. That's a little weird. We're gonna utilize one of my favorite medical tools. Guess what that is? It's ChatGPT. If you ever have blood work done or you get a report back from an MRI or anything like that, my number one piece of advice to you is ask for a copy of the results, put them into ChatGPT and ask it to read it for you, because ChatGPT will tell you what everything is, what you should make note of, how high or low it is, and it can connect certain things together. Then you can learn exactly what your test results mean instead of just having someone over the phone kind of relay to you. Turns out, there was a lot more on those test results. This was the first time I could actually see the extent to which my health had been struggling. Low/deficient vitamin D, also iron/ferritin, folate, B12, zinc, and magnesium. And calcium and potassium are also low. My body's lacking all of those. That's just a lot. That's a little more than I was expecting. There's also two things marked as high: bilirubin and albumin. It says, so overall your biggest deficiencies are in vitamin D, iron, folate, B12, zinc, magnesium, while your liver-related labs like albumin and bilirubin are running high. Apparently albumin has to do with my liver, which is a little concerning if my bilirubin's high. It says your deficiencies do line up with celiac. Most common deficiencies, if untreated in celiac, are iron deficiency, folate, vitamin B12, vitamin D, zinc, and magnesium. You have all of these low at once, which is a very strong suspicious pattern. Bilirubin and albumin can rise with liver involvement due to celiac. Liver abnormalities are common in celiac. It's called celiac liver disease. Consistent poor calcium and vitamin D absorption is why some celiac patients develop osteoporosis. Low folate plus B12 explains neurological issues like tingling, fatigue, and brain fog. Your panel essentially shows a classic cluster of nutrient deficiencies linked to malabsorption plus liver stress. I feel like that is an overwhelming abundance of evidence suggesting I have had celiac for a while and this is causing my issues. The one thing that's kind of weird is the liver stress, so I definitely need to figure out how to tackle that. I don't know how to fix deficiencies if I'm already taking supplements and the problem isn't a lack of supplement intake, it's my body can't absorb it. But the longer I don't have those results, the longer it's going to take me to start treating myself, and this feels a little urgent considering the liver stuff and everything, so I have to do a little bit more research and call the doctor. After all this time, all I needed was that last test result that would tell me if I had the gene for celiac. even with my concerning test results, nobody would talk to me. This is pretty much how it went. Hello. Hi, my name is Nevaeh Souza. I had some blood work done a week ago. The results are supposed to be in, but I never received positive or negative feedback, so I was just wondering if I could get the results of that testing. Just a moment. Hello? Hello. Hi, it's Nevaeh Souza again. I was just wondering if you could transfer me to the nurse so I could see what the results of that test I did a week ago were. One moment. Thank you. Hello! Hi. Nevaeh Souza again. The call keeps dropping before I can speak to somebody. Do you have the ability to just email me the test results, maybe? We don't send emails. I just thought, because the nurse said she was going to email me, and then you said you were going to email me.
No one told you that.
Okay. It's just kind of an important test, and I never got updated on the results. Could you tell me what the result of the test is?
No. Well, if you would like those very time-sensitive test results from the labs that we ordered, you will have to make an appointment.
You want me to make an appointment? Like a full 1 hour? Kind of important test results. It's kind of like you're holding my test results hostage.
No appointment. No test results.
Well, what if So I'm not doing that. I'm going to just call the medical records department of the hospital, because that's where I had the blood work done, and just ask if they can email it to me. So I'm gonna go around the clinic. I'm gonna try to contact the hospital. Hi, can I get transferred to medical records? Thank you. Well, I got a voicemail. Hi, this is Nevaeh Souza. I called a little bit earlier. Could I get transferred to medical records again? The first time I wasn't able to reach anybody. Hi, my name's Nevaeh Souza. I had some blood work done there about a week ago, and there's a pretty important test result that I know is in now, and I'm having a hard time getting the results to that from my provider. So I'm just wanting to get a quick email of the test results, just so I can know if I can go forward with treatment. Thank you. Wasn't able to reach him, so I just left a voicemail, and I'll just wait for a call back. Their office closes at like 4:30, and it is a Friday, so I would really like to get someone on the phone, so I would not like to wait all weekend. So the front desk lady, unsure of why I couldn't get a hold of them, just encouraged me to keep calling. She even gave the medical records lady a note, but for some reason, every time I tried to call, it would ring once and then go straight to voicemail. It wasn't until I tried from another number that I finally got someone to pick up. Weird, but whatever, I can finally get that last make or break test result. Well, called using my mom's phone number, gets picked up immediately. This is Nevaeh Souza. Immediately gets quiet. I was having a hard time getting a hold of you. I left a voicemail yesterday. I was just trying to get some medical records for a test result. Silence. She stays quiet for so long, and she goes, I know what you want. Yeah, there's just kind of urgent test results. She goes, I'm very busy. And it is after that it occurs to me that she was either purposefully denying every call she saw that came in with my phone number, or she has blocked my phone number. And I don't know why. I've never spoken to this woman in my life. All I did is I called once yesterday, no response, and so I called again, left a voicemail. So she either blocked me or was ignoring me based off of my voicemail. It becomes 10 minutes before closing. She's probably already, got her stuff all ready to go and walking out the door. I was like, well, I better call one more time before they close. Maybe she forgot. Hi, you guys are about to close. I really, really need those test results. Please, could you get that emailed over to me before you go home? She cuts me off and she goes, look, I'm well aware of what you want. I'll get to it when I release my medical records, please. Fine. Thank you. Which test results are you wanting? The results of the celiac panel. It's the only blood work I had done on this day at this time. This day, this time. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Let's see what she emailed me. Shall we? Should we see what she emailed me? The test results of my deficiency panel that I did like 6 days later. I ended up having to call urgent care, who I had the televisit with. They were able to request my documents from the hospital. I don't know, I was gonna call and yell at the hospital, but I don't care at this point. I just want my test results. So, about to find out if it is very much looking like I do have celiac. My MRI results also came through, so we can check those out. Everything from the MRI looks good. MRI came back all clear, which is what I was expecting. It was just kind of to look for any other autoimmune markers like MS. I'm glad to hear that. That is good news. Time to see if I have the celiac gene. Put this into ChatGPT. I knew it. Your test said celiac gene panel. Yes. Which means you carry one of the necessary HLA risk genes. Sucks. I feel like that very much means that I probably, very much more than likely, am dealing with celiac, which that combined with the deficiency panel, which is classic malabsorption pattern, high bilirubin and albumin, possible celiac liver involvement, positive celiac antibody tests, even though I've been gluten-free for multiple years, and just having a gluten intolerance on top of it, and your symptoms, bone pain, nutrient deficiencies, neurological signs, probability breakdown. Genetics only, 30 to 40% carry the gene, 1% have the disease. With positive antibody tests, it jumps up to 70 to 80% likelihood. With your deficiency panel, realistically, 80 to 90% probability this is celiac. Other conditions can mimic parts of this, but few would explain the entire picture as well as celiac does. The only way to be 100% certain is usually a small intestine biopsy. Well, I guess that explains so much. That explains so much. So I'm gonna call the doctor so we can talk about how I can, moving forward, talk about the biopsy, because that's the only way they will diagnose you is if you do a biopsy, which I don't want to have to do, but I might need to do. So go talk about that, talk about the next steps, what I have to do lifestyle-wise, trying to heal my intestines. If I need to do injections or infusions or anything like that for my deficiencies, at least for vitamin D, try to get my levels up, just because it doesn't look like I can absorb nutrients and supplements currently. And then ChatGPT says I should also be routinely doing liver checkups, so maybe some more blood work, checking on liver enzymes and stuff like that. So relieved. I'm so relieved. All right. I guess I call the doctor. So I had my follow-up visit with the doctor to talk about the biopsy. Finally felt like all of the medical trouble was coming to an end. I'm usually very excited to get mail. Today I brought medical bills. $3,000 worth of medical bills. I am not kidding with that number. I have insurance. The hospital, when I was having my MRI, they got the order, they called me to schedule the MRI. They were like, oh, and we have your insurance on record from when you did your labs, so we'll go ahead and bill insurance. We already contacted them and this will be covered. Your MRI is covered. And I told the lady from the hospital that called me, I was like, oh, I was just about to talk to them because it really needs to be covered. MRIs are pricey. She was like, oh yeah. Well, she assured me that they contacted my insurance and it was covered. Today in the mail, I just got multiple invoices for all of my labs. Apparently, I have a policy where they only cover urgent care or ER visits, does not include clinics. So, clinic visit and all the blood work I had ordered by the clinic, an MRI that was ordered by the clinic, is not being covered. So I called the hospital. And a lady on the phone, I was like, I just got an invoice for $3,000 for an MRI. When I was scheduling the MRI, the lady on the phone told me that she called my insurance and they said it was covered. The lady looks me up, she's like, we don't even have you on record here. I was like, what? One is claiming that it was on record and she called them, I was approved. The other is claiming that there is no insurance on record. So she said that all that she could do for me was send me a thing to file, like a grievance basically, see if I can get my costs reduced. So I'm gonna do that, but I'm not expecting anything to change except my insurance policy. That is That is changing immediately. And now I'm trying to figure out if I should even try to do the biopsy. The biopsy's prepay, just got an email, and the invoice is for $5,400. So with the insurance debacle, I'm a little scared to go forward with the biopsy because the $3,000 bill is horrific. Hate that. If you add $5,400 on top of that, I will become an arsonist. Between dealing with the clinic, and the hospital, and all the testing and the research, trying to figure out if I've got a diagnosis here, it's been a bit of a stressful couple weeks. And then the surprise $3,000 medical bill was the cherry on top. As sucky as it is to think that I probably do have celiac disease and I am going to have to live with that for the rest of my life. That's gonna affect my family later. That's going to affect my entire lifestyle. I have to be really cautious with things like how my liver is looking. None of that is the best, but I cannot help but feel just so relieved, so grateful to have figured out what it is to be going in the right direction, for it to be something that I can learn to manage. There are way worse things that it could have been. So I'm trying to just focus on that. So I just did a bunch of research. I think I found some good liquid form supplements I'm gonna buy to try to get those deficiencies to be less deficient. I'm not sure if it's gonna work. I'm not sure if I'm able to absorb nutrients from supplements, but it's worth a shot. Figured I'd try that route before injections or infusions. This is vitamin D. I'm gonna take all the supplements I can. I'm going to research everything possible that I can do for celiac, and in a couple of days, I can go back to dealing with the bills and the insurance and the biopsy. My goal for this upcoming year is gonna be to get healthy. I'm going to gut my lifestyle, change my diet, take supplements like crazy. So, it's time to get started. Feel grateful, feel ready. Can't believe I have celiac. That's why?